Like many of you, we're closely monitoring the complex crisis now unfolding in Myanmar, as the destiny of a nation lies in the balance. This episode of Inside Myanmar podcast is part of our special release series, designed to respond quickly to events such as these. Episodes in this series feature a diverse array of knowledgeable voices offering unique perspectives on the rapidly developing situation, and with a streamlined production process so the interviews can be released as soon as possible. Stay tuned to this platform for continued coverage and analysis.
The offensive started in Shan State when several armed groups came together under the name the Brotherhood Alliance to launch an offensive against government troops. That in turn triggered other attacks across the country. Since the 27th of October, different ethnic armed groups have made substantial gains in Shan State, Kachin, Sagang, Chin, Rakhine, Mon, Kaya and Kayin states.
An alliance of ethnic armed groups in Myanmar has launched coordinated attacks on the country's ruling military.
The Brotherhood Alliance is portraying a grimmer picture for the military. It says it's captured at least 90 military bases, with whole battalions of soldiers surrendering.
Unprecedented coordination between anti-military forces are mounting the biggest challenge by the military to the military government in years.
လက်လွတ်ခဲ့ရတဲ့နေရာရှိပါတယ်ဒါတော့ချင်းရွှေခေါ်ရယ်ဟောင်းဆိုင်ရယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့ကျူပုတ်ရယ်ဒီ၃ခုတော့ရှိပါတယ်
On this episode of Insight Myanmar podcast, we're really privileged to be speaking to Chosun Lang, and he's going to go deep into his research and his expertise in Rakhine State. And before we start off, why don't I just give you a chance to introduce yourself and share a bit about your background and work to our audience?
Thank you very much for inviting me. I really close to talking about the situation, my work and my research. Basically, I'm from Rakhine State. I work as a freelance journalist and also researchers for many years about the ethnic conflict and the political transition, and also after military coup. I work so many news article analysis for international media outlet. So basically I'm covering about the Rakhine very intensively. I wrote a lot of Rakhine stuff. Yes.
Right. Thanks for that. And we're to give some background for the audience. Originally, we were intending to just do a survey, an overview of how Rakhine and AA are involved in the current Operation 1027 and the implications in wider Myanmar. And as we got deeper into it, we realized that we really need to have some context and some background of looking at Rakhine society and politics in the last 10 to 15 years to better understand the implications for what's going on today. This is often a question in crises and conflicts where how far back do you go? And look no further than Israel-Palestine to start to ask the question, how far back do you go to understand and make relevant what's today? And that's the question we're also facing here as we have this conversation. This episode will definitely get into 1027 and what it is, why it's so important, the implications, as well as looking specifically from a perspective from Rakhine State and the AA's involvement and what this means for wider Myanmar. But before we get there, I think we should start by taking a deeper dive into understanding Rakhine State and the political background and people there, to build up to today, so we know which groups and parties and individuals we're talking about. There is no better person to talk about this than you. So this is a great chance for our audience to have a real learning experience with this region and this part of the country. I think maybe a good place to go back to is the early relationship between Rakhine Democratic leaders and Aung San Suu Kyi and the NLD in the years before the transition. So take us back there and tell us the relations that democracy parties and leaders had in Rakhine State with Aung San Suu Kyi and the NLD during all those years before the 2010s.
Oh yeah, thank you very much for this question. I'm saying we have to look back at three periods before 2010, the periods. So before 2010, the National League for Democracy, led by the Aung San Suu Kyi, and Arakan League for Democracy, ALD and NLD is a really good relationship. And also the Rakhine Party stand with NLD for many years. I can say even to 1990 election, the Rakhine Party went and also stand with formally aligned with NLD, and I can say they have a really good relationship at the time. And after, basically we can say after 2010, and the ALD stand with NLD to boycott the Hunter project election. At the time, the Rakhine politician established a new political party, RNDB, Rakhine Rakhine Nationality Development Party, RNDB, and then RNDP it is a little bit difference between RNDP and ALD, because RNDP is like more nationally rather than democratic rather than democratic party like ALD. And then they have, but I think still they have a good relationship. Rakhine have almost two party at the time, but they maintain good relationship with NLD. And then in 2013, 2014, Rakhine Party, the two party merged into the Arakan National Party, A, ANP. But still is good. They have a good relationship. And in 2015 election, the NLD win the elections, the entire country. Our AMP, Aragon National Political Party, also win in Rakhine State, almost Rakhine State area. So rather than NLD, so they have, but the NLD ignored the Arakan National Party demand, especially Arakan National Political Party demand for the Rakhine State cabinet, Rakhine State Prime Minister, but the NLD appoint their own minister, and then they clash stuff after 2015, and then the whole year, from 2015 to until before the military coup, February 2021, the Rakhine political parties and NLD have really distrust, and also they don't have, especially Rakhine political parties, think that NLD is a kind of NLD party. The ruling NLD party also working like Burma's majority, also Burman Central Party, also good relationship, making good relationship with the military, Tamdo. But I think here, so we have to also note that in the Rakhine conflict, the Arakan army and Myanmar military began in late 2018, and then there's a real intensive fighting. Also until before until November, until November election, especially until after election, until 3 months before the military coup, we are fighting in Rakhine State very intensively. at the time, we can see that there were three things. First, and the ruling party shut down the internet as for more than a year. So at the time, what we call the world longest internet shutdown in Rakhine State. And the second, and the party ruling the party collaborate also urged to use just fighter for Rakhine State, and also the Aung San Suu Kyi. So she also signed the or is signed a paper to Congress to the military and Tamil soldier who are fighting in Rakhine State against AA. I mean, she celebrated for military member. Also, another thing is the Aung San Suu during the COVID-19 stay the fighting in Rakhine State, and also stay the internet shutdown in Rakhine State. All these things are really forced Rakhine political party, not only Rakhine political party, but also Rakhine people to push away from the NLD, NLD party and Aung San Suu Kyi. So that's why the Rakhine people, they things like they don't really trust the NLD and also Aung San Suu Kyi. This is the reason, especially after fighting between the Arakan army and military in 2018 to 2020.
Right. There's a lot there, and thanks for going into that. And I think when we look back at the history, you mentioned how initially before the transition period that Rakhine was very close to Aung San Suu Kyi, the NLD. They called their party ALD instead of National League for Democracy, the Arakan League for Democracy. So there was even synchronicity with the names. But as I understand it, the first real split, you mentioned some of these touchstone points of 2018, 2015, 2013, but the real split started in 2010, correct? That's when there were elections and the NLD decided not to participate, and that left the ALD in a precarious place of deciding what to do. So tell us about that starting point.
Oh yes, in 2010, so when the NLD boycott and also the decide not to participate with the election, and the ALD, Rakhine Arakan League for Democracy, ALD also decide not to join, not to participate, and also boycott alongside the NLD at the time. Yes, and then so that's why the RNDP, the youth political party founded by Rakhine nationally, especially mostly Rakhine nationally, they found newly the RNDP, Arakan League for Democracy, to join the election for the Rakhine State.
Right. And this is I'm trying to speak slowly for our listeners because these are a lot of acronyms to remember. And if you're not familiar with all these parties, they could all run together. So I'll be repeating some of the names of the groups we're talking about to keep them in mind. The ALD was the pre-2010 NLD aligned Rakhine Party. And then when those Rakhine leaders that did not want to boycott the election, they formed the RNDP, which then later merged into the ANP, the Arakai National Party. Is that correct?
Oh yes, yeah, it's correct. Yeah.
Right. So now we have the ANP, and the ANP at this time in the mid 2010s, this becomes one of the main one of the majority parties in Rakhine State, we can say. So tell us about the ANP and its ideas and activities during this time.
Oh yes, thank you very much. So at the time, the AMP party seems like AMP party really strong, and especially after 2015, the election, the NLD ignored the AMP demand, and the AMP decide to be opposite party. So this, especially, you can see very obviously in 2016, 2017, 2018, the whole year, since NLD came to power, the whole, year in Rakhine State until 2021 February, NLD gained power February. In the February 2016, then February 2021, there was non-stop violence, in Rakhine State, and then yes, but this also, I'm not blaming NLD, but we can see here the ruling NLD really lack collaboration with AMP at the time, and that AMP, this is the reason. This is one reason what I see AMP more working in favors or like other party, like even USDP and even military, they seems like really good relationship at the time. So that's why after military coup, the Me Online offers a position for Rakhine State and also opposition for the Rakhine political party. So this is very obvious. We can see that after years or the ruling under the ruling the party under the less collaboration with Rakhine political party in Rakhine State, all these things push to be other side. This is what I see that in Rakhine politics. Yeah.
Right, and it should be mentioned that the ANP, this this was the majority party, not just in Rakhine. This was the fourth largest party in the country at the time, and to reiterate what you said, after the NLD won in 2015, it placed its own parliamentarians as chief ministers in all the 14 states and regional governments, including Rakhine, even though ANP had won a majority of seats. And so this was something that many people in Rakhine saw as unfair, correct?
Oh, yes.
Right. And so I think now we have something of an understanding of what was going on between 2010 through 2015, looking at some of the implications that it had post-coup and where Min Online was able to step in. But we also have, as we go closer to the coup, to 2017 and 2018, we have another acronym to throw here, the Rakhine Front Party, AFP. So tell us what the AFP was and why they're important.
Oh, yes. Especially after 2017, the Rakhine party, split again. AMP split into the, ALD. ALD stand is of ALD, and the Rakhine political, AMP political leader, Dr. Emil. So Dr. Emil also stand, trying to stand is, the party, to form the party AFP, Arakan Front Party, because this is like, especially there's years, especially what I mean is the Dr. Emil is a really good relationship with the military, and the other group, the rest of other group, the Uslaso, Campriso, and some other, key player, they have the relationship with the, Arakan army, ULAA. And so for that, and also for some people from the ALD, they still remain, they remain the relationship with the, NLD. And so they start, split their idea, and that's why in early 2017, ALB split into the three factions following the structures of factional disagreement, actually. Especially the faction leader, Enung Ulaso, Campriso. So these remained under the named AMP, and the previous leader, ALD leader, established ALB and its previous name. And then, but at the time, Dr. Emil was in the person, and Dr. Emil but Dr. Emo, no, not Dr. Emo, but also Dr. Emo also have some his fellow, like Cho Zhou and Zhou Wen. So these people, the Dr. Emo and these people established a new political party called Arakan Front Party. So at the time in 2000, we can see 2018 in Rakhine State, we have by-election. The Arakan, the Arakan Front Party leader, Dr. Emo Sam, he was win the election. He win the election. This is, even over the ALD and NLD. So this was so surprising for the political observers, for people's friend, the mainland, saying Rakhine politics. But after the Dr. Emo relief in prison in February, a week after military coup in 2021, Dr. Emo first he spoke thank and also thank he gave thanks he spoke his gratitude over the Me Online and other military group, and there Rakhine people dramatically change their mind to support over the AFE and Dr. Emo. Since then, AFE is kind of the political party. This is really lows the people support, and also right now I can say this is only a few hundred people probably members of AFE, and also the Dr. Emo also. So he also stay working with the military, also supporting against the Rakhine Revolution, also the whole nationwide ceasefire, nationwide resistance against the military junta. So he's speaking. He is technically pro-military speaker right now. Yeah, we can see very obviously. That's why the people from Rakhine State, this really disappoint. They got the people of Rakhine State got disappointment. Also, dislike. So he's not kind of leader like previously. 2015, 2016. He's no way no leader right now. He's just only I from the Rakhine populace, they call him like a pro-military person or something. Yep.
Mm, right. So I'll recap some of what you've said for our audience who is following along. This may be new for, because this is just getting a deep dive into the complexity of Rakhine politics, that we're looking at basically three parties that before the coup that were dominating the political sphere in Rakhine State. The ALD, which was the original NLD aligned party, which was split after the 2010 elections because some people felt that they should participate and some didn't. You have the ANP, which were those that split from the ALD and formed their own party, and then you have this new AFP, which became somewhat military aligned, and you have all these three parties that are competing for space. And again, we're looking before the coup. Everything changed so much after the coup, but we're not quite there yet. We're trying to understand the context and history background before getting to that point, so we have a better understanding of what's going on today. But if we just take these three parties, these three main parties that are existing, the ALD, the ANP, and the AFP, that are in this political space, let's say 2017, 18, the next couple years before the coup, how are these three parties relating to each other? Are they aligned in any way? Are they opposed to each other? The aspirations and what they're seeking, are they in the same direction, or are they at odds? What can you say about the relation of these three Rakhine parties?
Oh yeah. So I think we also had to mention here to talk about very obviously to see very obviously a relationship between among the three party. But here we have to talk about another the key factor in Rakhine State Arakan armies and
Sure.
ULAA. So these three parties really rely on how relationship they have with the Arakan army and ULAA. This is the key factors.
Hmm.
Because we can see very obviously the outer military coup. The AMP party leaders, some AMP party leader already joined with the ULAA administration, and like Enung saying, deputy leaders of AMP joined SAC, and for like but ALD stay meeting with Democrat Anedi, but AFE they are informally really good relationship, but formally they didn't join any position of that offered by SAC. So ULA seems like a very much good relationship with the AMP rather than ALD and AFP in Rakhine State. So it's mean that AMP stay very much stronger than ALD and AFP. So the three party, they don't have a good relationship, especially AFE and AMP. AFE and AMP and ALD. So we can say AMP and ALD have somehow good relationship, but AFP and ALD seems like really strained relationship.
Yeah.
AMP and AFP no good relationship at all. Um, this is really depends on how the relationship with ULAA. That's why I mentioned for earlier, to look at it very obvious the relationship between. So yeah, so we can also look at in post-coup Rakhine political landscape. ALD, Arakan League for Democracy, is less valuable, less valuable compared to AMP than AIP, because ALD is like kind of smaller party, and also they have really good relationship in southern part of Rakhine State. I mean, they have some support in the southern part of Rakhine State, and also they have really good relationship with the Democratic Alliance in nationwide. Yeah, like NIDs and other like SLD, and they have really good relationship, such a great party. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but ALD didn't register. Yeah, only the party ALD in Rakhine State didn't register to contest and Hunter project election in this year. I mean, it's supposed to be this year. What the Hunter said, but I don't know. And A AMP and AIP, both party register for Hunter project election in this actually August, maybe last August,
Hmm.
actually last August for the party, but only ALD didn't register. So
Right.
ALD seems like more, but in Rakhine State, although ALD have doesn't strong, although ALD have doesn't the strong the full stand in Rakhine State, but ALB movement is kind of like they have a legacy movement because the ALD formed the oldest party since 1998. So ALD formed in 1998. So their ALD is the oldest party and have some legacy. Also, really good relationship with the mainland party like NLD and SND. The other ethnic Democratic Party especially. Um, but so we can also see the AFE and ULAA relationship, especially Dr. Emo. Yeah, I just saw previously after Dr. Emo release in February, a week after military coup. So Dr. Emo expressed his gratitude to the coup leader, the Mir Online, for his relief, and also criticized first time for ULAA political revolutionary path and activity in Rakhine State. These DVDs distant friend Rakhine peoples for him. And then a week later, AIP register for Hunter project election, and also so Dr. Imo all the time. Dr. Imo mentioned, this is the path. The election is only the path for the Myanmar crisis. Myanmar crisis solution or something. Yeah. So right now, I'm talking previously. Dr. Imo is pro-military politician, also attending, to disrupt the political struggle or ULAA, widely nationwide anti-military coup movement. Yeah, but ULA also arrests some AFP key leader early 2022. So in conclude, so we can see very obviously AFP, AMP, and ALD. So ALD doesn't have a strong people support, but ALP have kind of a legacy and also good relationship. Also, really stand with democratic value. Work with nationwide Democratic Party, and AIP moves very much nationalist. Live at Dr. Amal, pro kind of right now pro military party and pro military group. So AMP also seems like AMP maintain their nationalist value. Also AMP have some relationship with the military hunter, and but also ALP have a really good relationship with the ULA.
Right. Thanks for that crash course. And we now turn our attention to the AA, which I think many people will be familiar with. We hear about how strong the Arakan army is, and the ULA, of course, is their political affiliate. We've been talking about the development of all these political parties and their relation to each other, to the military, to the NLD, and we haven't really addressed head on the main player in here, the AA, which is quite a force and something that we should delve into. So, can you take us back to the origins of the AA and then the ULA along with that, and why the AA is so important today and where they came from?
Oh yes, thank you very much. So basically, I think the behind, the four reason out of behind the rough or the rise of the ULAA in Rakhine State. Basically, so Rakhine, actually, I think everybody know, many people know about, AA established in 2009. The youngest, the Rakhine organization in Rakhine State. Previously, in Rakhine State has so many groups. ALP, also the previous Arakan army in Rakhine State. And so they have, and also especially generation to generation in Rakhine State, they also were rebellions against central government. In during a decade, it have been so we can see very obviously it had been kind of became one of country powerful and also successful organization. All those in the US, the Myanmar ethnic organization group, um, right now, I think, especially in early 2022, the General Terminal 9 also, mentioned that it has grew to 30,000 soldiers, mainly present in Rakhine State, and 16,000, 6,000, 6,000 troops are situated in northern Shan State and country north or northeast. So here's historically in Rakhine State, such as the strength, also the group, also strength and military stand, also military base like AA never happened. So this is the first time for Rakhine history, the grouping out like AA. So yeah, I also mentioned that I already mentioned the Rakhine State. In Rakhine State, it's not first time the revolutionary movement group. They have so many generation to generation, but none of the groups have been grew like AA in Rakhine State right now. Today we can see historically. So when I look at the AA, why AA grew to, earlier, and why importance for Rakhine people, and so we can see very obvious for I think 4 reasons. First, the leadership. So previously the ungrew leadership in Rakhine State are older people, less educated, just less organized, but they have really strong nationalists. Yeah, it's the same. But VA leadership is young, educated, ability to grow the organization. Especially, we can see a leader, tall leader, General Major General Tramanai, Brigadier General Newton are educated, Rakhine natives with really deep, good network, southern and northern Rakhine State. And because what I mentioning here is in Rakhine revolutionary movement or Rakhine political party, mostly political leaders are from the northern Rakhine State. No, there's a really less political leader from southern Rakhine State. So but ULA have really second deputy leaders are in and Jiaopu Township. It's the key southern town, and also he become really good the favors for the southern people. That's why in short time, but in a decade, the ULA gained really spoke from the Rakhine people, because historically most of the political party, I already mentioned most of the political party, most of political leader, all are from northern Rakhine State. So that's why they are really making hard to influence southern part of Rakhine State. But Rakhine ULA leadership cover this gap, and this also also their leadership also have generation the older generation leadership Johan and spoken person Kaintukar, or these these people are especially the AHAF leadership in leadership two generation. They have the older generation, also the younger generation, such as the quality leadership in Rakhine State previously we have seen actually. And the second is leaders settled the concept of Arkan Drain 2020, and I think you may probably familiar with Arkan Drain 2020, such as strategy, politically mobilized movement in Rakhine State never happened. So after a leader, especially General Truman, I released a video clip talking about Arkan Drain 2020 and the weight of Rakitat. Around I think 2016, the people of Rakhine State begin to paying attention to the ULA and start voting. And also they have drain, so they all the time the Arakan leader mentioned, so we have to drain, we have to move forward. This is the only way that we can work on that. And also, so this is really huge. This is a really huge changes for Rakhine public opinion. Sweet to support for ULA. Another factor is ULA especially another factor is especially during the government term. We talked previously the NLD government and they labeled ULA like a terrorist organization, also ordered military to crush American army, and also the war longer international in Rakhine State. All these things push Rakhine people to believe in revolutionary movement rather than electoral politics. This is the first, and the fourth. ULA have a really good relationship with particularly Myanmar-China border people, KIA. KIA. Also, we can see MNDDA, TNLA, UWSA, all these group, very stronger group, in country, a very stronger revolutionary group. This group is really good relationship with the ULA, and them ULA, we can say very obviously ULA gain the support, and also ULA gain technical weapon support from this group, two groups of in Rakhine State. Even they have people, they have soldiers, but they also need the weapon. Also, they also need the alliance to be sustainable. So the ULA make such a good relationship, and definitely ULA make such a good alliance with broader in the country, the largest organization. So these four pattern make ULA do factor make ULA very group of and also stronger and successful organization in Rakhine and even in the country.
Thanks for that. That's great, and the landscape is getting even more complex. I hope our listeners are following along with us as they try to track this. And so, basically, what you're describing is you have this up until the AA's formation, or before they have the strength and the political power that they develop through ULA and through the armed AA. You have this kind of old boy network, I might call it, of this tripartite, these three parties that are holding the power, that have their different alliances and divisions and splits and everything else. And then it sounds like AA just breaks the mold. They come out, they come from a place where these political leaders don't usually come. Their way of thinking is different. They make alliances that have never been made before among those in Rakhine State, and they have this meteoric rise of coming from in terms of their importance and what they're doing. And as they're doing this, the ground is kind of changing in Rakhine State, and then in the overall country as well, in this new direction that they're charting. And so the question would come: how are other people seeing the AA/ULA? The ULA is the political arm of the AA. When we look at the strength and the power that their rise is starting to claim, I'm wondering about the relationships. And I guess there's three relationships that come to mind. First, how do the traditional Rakhine political parties, how do they view what the AA is doing, and how are they aligned or opposed to it? And then, of course, you have the military and the NLD. So as the AA is gaining in strength and becoming a force to reckon with, how are these three different power centers, the other Rakhine political groups, the Bamar military and the NLD, how are they relating to the undeniable strength and presence that the AA is starting to claim?
Oh yeah, thank you very much for this question. Um, I think first, I also mentioned previously the relationship among three political parties, ULA, and also the Rakhine political parties, NLDs, military. Here, so we can also think another perspective that what that's came to in my mind is the ULA. So the political party, the three political party, they are really depends on the ULA leaders, because here is the point. After the 2015, after election, and they ignored their demand also, and also we also have to mention in 2018 in Rakhine State, in Mrau in 2018, I think it was like February, I don't know, January 18. The here was like the loss of Arakan kingdoms, like a kind of celebration, a kind of like movement, also like maybe political literature talk, but at the time the government shut down, and also the key at least 12 people, and also several injury, and many so people were have to forced to hide. This event, it was in it was happened in Mrau in 2018. So this event also a kind of factor that thought the people change their mind. Rakhine political party working, going through party to gain self-determination for self-rule or self-government in Rakhine State is impossible for the people of Rakhine State. And they shouldn't view that only the struggle against central government is the answer. Because these years, all these years, the central Burmese central political party politician really ignore the Rakhine people demand, Rakhine public speed. Also, you can see long internet shutdown. Rakhine people are really, their own, especially after a year, more than a year internet shutdown in Rakhine State. Rakhine people are own their way. They are not a part of. They feel themselves. They are not a part of the bomber, because most of the other part of the country are using internet, and also especially even during the COVID-19. So in Rakhine State, people are really worrying both COVID-19, also military rifle and military weapon. These things are really forced to support the ULA, and that's why ULA became the really key pattern. And also for the political party, the three political party, they also most of them support ULA. Even the Dr. Emo, early year Dr. Emo really supported ULA, and then they changed after he was arrested, and then he was released after a week after military coup. He changed his perspective very strongly, but he spoke probably he supported ULA because he want to gain support from the people of the Rakhine State. But after the coup, he was changed. He might strongly and support the military. All these things actually. So ULA first during and also during 2015, 2016 in Rakhine State. Only the Dr. Emo is the leader of Rakhine people. Dr. Emo represents Rakhine people. Dr. Emo represents the Rakhine political party. The people think Dr. Emo is the key player at the time, but that suddenly changed actually after Dr. Emo already, especially Dr. Emo arrested in early 2019, and that he was relieved. He was a stand with the people of Rakhine State. The Rakhine people feel that, and that all these things actually, turn to B, ULA is stronger.
Mm, that's really interesting, and it's pointing. What you say is pointing to a couple of important factors. One is the loss of faith in the democratic process based on how the NLD responded after 2015, the Bamar led NLD, we should say, that among many Rakhine leaders and peoples, there came a loss of faith in democratic representation, which forced them to look for other ways to guarantee their rights and their safety. That's one issue at play here. Another issue is just the building discrimination and racism that's starting, and the tensions that are starting to come. And I remember we had Rakhine journalist Mia Chau on here as a guest earlier, and he referenced that during this period there were Bamar celebrities that were speaking up publicly and saying that those Rakhine people that did not stand for the national anthem, that they should be killed. They should be imprisoned and killed. That was how strongly these and toxic these sediments were becoming and these divisions were forming. One question I have is that as you say powerfully that people in Rakhine started to feel that they're not a part of this state, that they're not a part of this uh, of this of Burma, of the overall governance that is in the country, and that their rights and their safeties aren't guaranteed, and they start to protest against that. And this is an interesting thing to say, because 2015 and 2020, it brings to question, who is the state that they're protesting against? Who is it that they're feeling antagonistic towards? Because of course the NLD is nominally in charge of the government, but as we know, the military is still holding many of the powers that the NLD has no control over. And so when you were describing this antagonism and this aversion that Rakhine people start to feel towards the state, were you referring to the current, at the time, NLD leadership, or to the Bamar-led Sitat, the military, or to both of them together?
Oh yes, thank you very much. Yeah. So most of the people also argue that NLD does have, or NLD didn't have power at the time when they gained to the power. Actually, yeah, technically when they gained to the power, NLD didn't have the power. So after military coup, most of the Burmese political experts or politicians, and also many of people, yeah, from the central Burma also mentioned that point. So I don't agree with that, because NLD, when the NLD gained power, NLD has so many things, in the Rakhine conflict, NLD involved. NLD involved so many things, NLD, even though Aung San Suu Kyi, uh, you know, side, and although Aung San Suu Kyi solid brave, the military soldier who were fighting in Rakhine state against the Arakan army at the time in around 2019, yeah, in 2019. So many things actually, and also the internet shutdown. This is, and also the and also we can see that during during the Rohingya crisis, Rohingya genocide in 2017. So all these things, so, and then they have the power, but they had the power, but they don't have power too much and compared to the military, we can say, but they have power. They have power. They can do something in the purpose of the people, but they didn't do that. The NLD, we see the people from the minority, the people. This is the prosperity from the Rakhine people. This is what I am speaking.
Mm-hmm.
The prosperity from Rakhine people seen that the NLD only working to reconcile with military. They say that rather than ethnic minority group, NLD work in the favors of this military rather than ethnic organization, ethnic political party. This is very obvious. This is very obviously we can see. Another thing, the Rakhine people see that both majority Burma lead NLDs or majority Burma lead sector military. are the same at the time. They are like crying, like in the celebrated crying. They came together to Rakhine, and also they fight and they work and they collaborate in the Rakhine conflict.
Mhm.
This is what Rakhine people see at the time. This is during 2018 to 2020. So this is why after the military coup happened, Rakhine probably lessly collaborate with the rest of the people actually. There was really less protest in Rakhine State, and also there was no CDF movement in Rakhine State. Also, we can also see that another fact after NUG found, there was really less Rakhine people. You can see that I can say there was anyone who represent Rakhine people in the government. Sorry, NUG government. Even NUCC. Also, the rest of the country are obviously and also participating. Also, joining, and also even the NUG, we can see that really less participation. Yeah, I will definitely talk like more from Ranger community have the position as deputy minister, but for Rakhine side, there was a. So this is all the reason the Rakhine people think. I'm speaking their perspective. Rakhine, the people think that during 2018 to 2020, the NLD and militaries are like a kind of the same quite celebrate. They came together, they collaborate, and they work against Rakhine popular demand, and also they work together against Rakhine army in Rakhine state.
I see. So we're getting up to the coup. We're not quite there yet. There's one more important issue to talk about. This is just, again, underscoring for our audience how incredibly complicated and nuanced these discussions are and how important it is to gain some kind of understanding or overview beyond those kind of basic headlines that we get to go deeper into it. And you're the perfect person to do this. So, the one issue to go into, of course, before we get to the military coup, those listeners that remember the geography of Myanmar, that we have the Rohingya crisis that happens in Rakhine State. So, within this already incredibly complicated landscape that you're laying out between these three parties that have different alignments, the growth of the AA and their arm strength, and the increasingly antagonistic relations between Rakhine people and the Bamar-led, whether it's NLD or military. We have the Rohingya crisis, which flares up in the middle of this decade, making things even more tense and even more challenging for all parties and more complicated for all of us to try to understand. So, within this landscape that you've laid out really brilliantly, and this understanding of all these different individuals and parties and aspirations that we're understanding in Rakhine State, tell us where the Rohingya fits into this. Tell us where ARSA fits into this, and tell us where the Rohingya genocide and ongoing crisis that develops that is caught between the Bamar-led NLD and military and the suffering of the Rohingya people, but then this is happening in Rakhine State in the midst of these political tensions between these Rakhine parties. Where does Rohingya fit into this whole landscape that you've just described?
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I want to clarify that I'm not very much Rohingya expert. So I think many the people, international experts already study about the Rohingya so much more than I do actually. Yeah, I will speak here more broadly why mostly Rohingya people. Yeah, so first, so this is from my analysis. So Rakhine and Rohingyas have, kind of, they have a good relationship previously the on the ground, on the grassroots level, but historically, the Rakhine community leader and Ranger community leader, they have really less collaboration and also less speaking to one another. Because it's what very obvious, historically, the Ranger community leader, they really trying to communicate with, Central Burma political majority party, like NLD, like USDP. So you can also see 2010 elections. There was also some member from Ranger community, as USDP elected member, members of parliament, USDP members of parliament member. So mostly the from the Rohingya side, mostly the Rohingya political party leader really trying to be a good relationship with NLD and also USDP rather than Rakhine political party. And from Rakhine political party side, also their party also trying themselves to be more stronger rather than speaking with local people. And because Rakhine political party is so nationalist, actually, really nationalist people. And then they try to gain only the people from the Rakhine people, especially Rakhine people's vote, actually. Because if they collaborate from the Rohingya community, they may be probably less gaining support from Rakhine people. So that's why they're really worrying, to less support from, to gain less support from the Rakhine public. From the Rohingya side, their community leader historically really try to be a good relationship with central people rather than Rakhine party. And also, we can see very obviously after military coup. So even NUG Kwang Chomo also joined me. Kwang Chomo is really a good friend of mine as well. So Kwang Chomo also joined me in the NUG, and also from Rakhine side, Rakhine people stand themselves to be, something like what they think actually. Here's for Rakhine. Here, what I will mention for the Rohingyas on the ground after, especially after 2012, after 2012, so the communal violent breakout between the Rakhine community and the Rohingya community. This was a huge, spread the community, and also that made Rakhine, the two community to be more distraught, and also the against one another. But in around 2018, after breaker in Rakhine State, especially General Tramanai, he also mentioned first time speaking using the term Rohingya in coconut media in 2018, and he also saying that so they have to support one another, they have to work together, and just something that this is the first time historically a from the Rakhine politician, Rakhine political leader speaking, working together with the Rohingya people, and also using the term Rohingya, and this was very strive for some nationalists for Rakhine people, especially AMP, and also AMP, and also another group like ANC, Arakan National Council, AA, the group situated in Korean state. So those groups are stopped talking, AA start working with Muslim group. So the one because technically Bengali Muslim, ULA working with the Bengali Muslim. This is what they said. I just make a quote. This is a very the conflict length change. After 2018, Rakhine people start. Rakhine stakeholder also start communicate, and also Rohingya people also communicate. One another. But until today, there's were less agreement, also less communication, very strongly, and even from my side, what I see is for Rohingya community, they really want something that agreement with the ULA. Speaking, frequently speaking, the political, especially like a citizen right, political participation, equality, and also something like more, more commitment and a guarantee for their community by ULA.
Right. That's a lot to take in where that all fits together. And but it's helpful to know where this community and where this crisis is all fitting together and trying to get those pieces to sort it out. And so you reference how the Rohingya are seeking a conversation and alignment with ULA. From the ULA side, how are they seeing the Rohingya community and the crisis, and what role have they played?
Oh yes, thank you very much. For Rakhine side, Rakhine probably saying the ULA is the key matter for the whole Rakhine state. The key player, the kingmaker. So for the ULA also saying things themselves, they are key players for Rakhine people. So we have to look at their approach to the Rohingya crisis. They seems like they recognize about they recognize about the presence of the Rohingya community in Rakhine State. And the second, they also think the way to out again, the way the way to gain their self-determinations or something confederation, what they said, without Rohingya people's vote and without Rohingya people participation, it's maybe really hard to gain for them. They made things because Rohingyas population is second largest population in Rakhine State. We also have to note that one. Another thing is we can also see that the crisis, Rohingya crisis for the ULA leader is huge and also really challenging for for a revolutionary group ULA. It's a huge challenging. It's a huge huge challenges and also opportunity. But if ULA can not handle with the crisis may be bigger. If ULA can handle very well, the crisis maybe solved. This is almost the person on the hand of ULA right now, because previously mostly historically the people from Rakhine leader are really aggressive and also really less connection with the Rohingya community leader. But this time ULA have we can also change. We can also definitely note Rakhine ULA approach. First, ULA used the term Muslim, but ULA didn't use the term officially Rohingya, no Bengali. And the Rakhine media and Rakhine people also start using that. The Muslim people in Rakhine State maybe something, but it's not. It's just a good solution, but they have to work on that. But I mean here, is they relieve their tension, For Rohingya people, they don't like calling the Bengali, and then Rakhine people start stopping calling the Bengali, but they also didn't call very much Rohingya, but they called them Rakhine Muslim. This is a kind of improvement, but it still need to be improvement, what the Rohingya people want to be called Rohingya, the term Rohingyas, and also they have to be negotiated between the Rakhine leaders and also Rohingya community leaders. But I can say it's still a good development, but still need to be more development.
That's really interesting. That's fascinating. It's also just showing the kind of trailblazing and breaking out of the mold that we're seeing with AA and ULA as they continue to go, doing things non-traditionally than and out of the convention and what we've seen of Rakhine before. And that's a really interesting development to watch. I think we've now reached the point where if hopefully our audience is still with us and following these complexities, and we now come to the coup. And you've already referred to a couple of developments post coup. You talk about some of the reaction that the Rakhine people had when the coup took place and their lack of involvement with protests and CDM and NUG and things like that. But let's talk more about post coup Myanmar before we get to the culminating piece we're going to get to, which is Operation 1027 and the really, some would say, shocking development and involvement with AA's involvement. Before we get to that point, let's understand how everything changed after the coup, or perhaps how some things stayed the same. But you touched upon this briefly before of the Rakhine people and parties and organizations' lack of involvement and engagement as we saw in the rest of the country. But fill us in with details. What else stands out in looking after February 1st, 2021 and before October 27th, 2023, during that 2.5 years or so? What stands out in terms of what's going on in Rakhine State, what's going on with these individuals, these Rakhine individuals that you've already talked about, these political parties and AA? Give us the scene during this time.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. So we can say so like for the major group, like a Rakhine populace, after the coup, the Rakhine populace are less interested in enjoying the protest against the coup, and even they think that this is the problem between NLD and military. Also, this is then another political party group like AMP. Yeah, you can see very obviously. I also mentioned AMP deputy leader Inu Sin joined military council. After military coup, she became central members of the coup, military council. Dr. Among the party AIP, they don't join officially, but they unofficially they swore on the behest of military, and also he's becomes like a pro-military politician in Rakhine and even widely in the Myanmar. And AIP, ALD, Rakhine League for Democracy. So ALD stands very strongly with the resistance movement, the NLD, and also other the democratic movement across the country, even in Rakhine State. But they have less influence over Rakhine people, but they have a really good relationship with the other Dresser country, the democratic party and democratic movement. And for AA in Rakhine State, so AA, not only Rakhine State, for the political factor, I think we have to see that the AA approach to the military coup. It seems like very interesting. So earlier years of the coup, a lot of people really criticized over ULAA, not to fight in Rakhine, and also a leader also talking about not to join not to join CDM movement in Rakhine State. All these things are really make it to be aggressive for the bombing majority actually, especially in April. In April, the General Permanent said early year the AA was working right now, implementing the government mechanism with a strong institution for public affairs, including administration and judiciary and public security. But at the time, there was less attention from the people, the majority, or the especially the rest of other country, what's happening in Rakhine State. Through 2022, especially we can see that through year the ULA approach to the nationwide movement, it was very clear. So we can see first a approach to the in Rakhine State is to power competition with Hunter in Rakhine State through establish parallel administration, judiciary mechanism in Rakhine State. The second, collaboration with other alliance in fight against the Hunter. And third, assistance to the resistance force after coup. And fourth, we can see establish relationship with NUG and other key pattern in resistance movement. This is the fourth pattern because first we can see that ULA strategically approach to the coup to challenge the multi-Hunter administration in Rakhine State. After 1 year after coup, it was very obvious. I think we call the floor with the COVID-19. At the time, ULA released a statement of COVID-19, stay at home to respond to COVID-19. Very hate the Rakhine people follow the order, and then after almost 1 year and a half, ULA leader Dr. Newton, deputy leaders or ULA leader, so he also stated they have control to the Rakhine State and train hundreds of administration personnel who had been resolved more than 500 to 1,000, 1,000, 1,500. 500 to 1,500 complement disputes, other legal matter over almost 18-month periods. These things can see that ULA strategy to establish strong administration and judiciary mechanism in Rakhine State against Hunter. This is the first approach, and the second ULA approach to the national resistance is to collaborate with its alliance force in northern and northeast Myanmar. We can see very obviously MNDDA, TNLA, KIA. Since after a month later, since that ULA is fighting alongside with KIA, TNLA, MNDDA. Until today we can see very obviously the whole years are fighting. Also ULA also ULA also the first approach to ULA strategy is to train to support resistance force in the country. ULA publicly said that it support for third. I think ULA publicly said that dozens of people the like counter that is all the resistant group. Yeah, this is what I check when I collect all information. So how many people were spot ULAA? So I see that at least 11 resistant fort like Sky, Bakwij, Shin, Irrawaddy, all these groups have received military training and technical support by ULAA. After military coup, some group like BPLA, Burma People Liberation Army, they established sit sit by ULAA, and also we can see People Revolution Alliance Magway and also Marine Defense Force. All these groups receive really strong for technical and military support. Like from in Mandalay, we can see that Mandalay PDF group, all these groups especially they receive military and technical support by ULA. The fourth, the final approach to ULA is to work with NUG, but they want to maintain a good relationship with NUG. But until today, I didn't see that ULA is like form a alliance or NUG, but they are really good relation. They are really good, and they are really good friend with NUG, because unlike other organizations like such as KNU, Korean National Union, KIA, Christian Independent Army, ULA approach to the like NUG is the early year seems like very cautious. I think this is because of like a two pattern. First, NUG mostly affiliated by NLD members. And in early years, we already talked about very much today, 2018 and 2020, the conflict in Rakhine State. The ULA is seeing that NLD's members are working together hand in hand against AA at the time. That's why AA early years AA really cautious, like EAs and NLD members for NUG. Yeah. These are but after 2022, early 2022, first time, and UG released media speaking. They have a good relationship with AA, and also they have regularly spoken. And and UG also statement after years they also titled that Arakan people government live in ULA, they have meeting or something like they have good relations. They have a good relationship, but they have no like formal alliance like in Northern Group like TNLA, 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 MNDAA, something not like that. But they have good relationship, good friendship with NUG. Yeah, thank you very much.
So thanks for that. I think that one of the confusing things to follow with this is that on one hand, we hear about this history of coordination and of good relations with the democracy movement, the NUG, the PDF, the PDF groups that are forming the other EROs. So you go into this detail, but then on the other hand, we also hear about, you had said earlier uh, that before the coup and after the coup, that there are many in Rakhine that just saw, whether we were looking at Sitat, the military, or the NLD, or becoming the NUG, that these are all just Bamar. These are different Bamar-led institutions, and these are different Bamar-led institutions that have continually discriminated against the Rakhine people, and they're now fighting each other. So kind of like this isn't our fight, and you go into how they're not really joining CDM, they're not represented in the NUG. And then the other element, which we haven't touched on yet, and maybe you can also bring up and discuss, is the truce. The truce that the military, the SAC, after the coup, sought with the AA and maintained until I understand Operation 1027. And so there's this kind of conflicting information that I think we're struggling to understand. That on one side, there's this recent history of collaboration and cooperation and all this kinds of support for the resistance and the democratic movement that you've described. But then on the other hand, there's this consistent mistrust and disengagement with the current movement and resistance that's going on, as well as some kind of agreements with the military, which is, as what that truce allows the military to do, and this is the divide and conquer they've done for so many years, is that because they don't have to focus so much on that front, they can put more of their resources in other places, which some would argue is strengthening the military's hand. And so how are you able to clarify these kind of somewhat contradictory, apparently contradictory or opposing actions that we're seeing with the AA and ULA?
Oh, yes. Firstly, so Rakhine, especially the A approach, it seems like a very controversial, so very obviously, but uh, almost 2 years after, even military coup, so to open again, warfare in Rakhine State, it's really a huge damage. I mean, for the people, also AA, because they already tired, fighting for 2 years. I mean, so really intensively fighting for 2 years. And then another thing is that, a primary goal, we can see all the time they're speaking, self-determination and confederation. I mean, something like, greater autonomy, we can say, rather than, confederation. This is what I see. They want the greatest, the autonomy in Rakhine State. This was very obvious. So their approach was like, very obviously a little bit complicated, but we have to look at the context of political landscape in Rakhine State. You can also see in May 2021 or 2022, the Rakhine people also faced the Mokara devastation. That's a huge damage. Almost, Rakhine, almost Rakhine 17 township are nearly partially or completely damaged because of the Mokhar cyclone. Also, they really face and in such a crisis, not only Rakhine State, but Rakhine State have more internally displaced person, and from other side we also have Rohingya crisis. They are in for Rohingya people. They had been more than a decade living in internally displaced camp. All these things, to open new form for ULAA have to be considered. This is what I see that. But, and also, Rakhine is also like a kind of isolated geographically. That's why in 2020, 2022, when the conflict resumed, when the end conflict resumed in Rakhine State in August, early August, the military first shut down all road and highway, also common road and highway and also waterway. That's make the people in Rakhine State to be more isolated. The commodity prices are really rising. The people really face humanitarian crisis, especially military. Also, the military council also restrict for NGO to not restrict to the going going to the the conflict area, and also especially for not only conflict areas but also the IDP people who even in the like Saitwe, Mrau, like in this urban area, the military hunter restricted for NGO humanitarian aid. Yes, another we can see that after military shutdown, the road only the way in Rakhine State, Rangoon to the Saitwe, the highway only one way. If the military shut down the township gate, Rakhine had been store store the transportation and also like economy trades or everything have been stored, and also the price suddenly rises. Um, and that's why for especially that's why the most of Rakhine people really hold that from Bangladesh side to open informally, even informally open the gate through the Rakhine State, through ULA administration. This is the whole that is that all these things. What I want to mention that are really think about for the ULA leader to open the new fund in Rakhine State and then to join the national resistance. Obviously, but they joined very obviously. They approach very systematically. Yeah, but it takes time. But right now, very obvious how they approach to the national resistance are. I just can see that. Yeah. First, I think. So usually, leaders are the belief that the the common enemy, only the enemy is a military hunter in Myanmar. This is the first thing, and also the in leader never trust to the military leader. So, but elite, they may, I mean, they UN leaders, they believe. I mean, they have a good. They have right now. We can see the ES and the members are really they are really good relationship with the ULA leader. So yeah, I want to clarify that the AA saying believe that only the enemy is military, without fighting, without overthrow all the military hunter. They know that they won't achieve their goal for the greater autonomy of Rakhine State. This is very obvious. Yeah, so all these years may be very contradiction, very complicated, but the A leaders, yeah, they leaders saying that only two way to get strong point in Rakhine State, military base and administration, and then they will try on the other hand to overthrow the hunter as soon as possible. Uh, after hunter came down, they I think that they seem to believe that after military goes every ethnicity every fight for their self-determination or greater autonomy or for a future federal democratic country all depends on the overthrow of the military. Yeah, thank you.
Right, I understand that. The question I have is, they you're describing how they're looking to overthrow the military, and yet to establish a federal democracy, they need to work with the NUG or whatever governing democratic body comes after that. But you've just described how so many Rakhine people have lost faith in democracy and have seen that the results of democracy did not result in the kind of returns that they were expecting. They did not see fairness in the way the democratic system was being run by a Bamar majority. Uh, and so as they're realizing that, as you described, that any future for their region and their people has to be a post sit that post regime, post military regime authority, that also calls into question the degree to which they are talking to and trusting the Bamar leadership based on the difficult periods they went through in the 2010s. And so, looking beyond the military and their distrust of the military, do you see that there is a new era possibly dawning of Rakhine leaders who are trying to work with and now trusting and communicating with Bamar leaders, and that the previous tension and frustration over the democratic process before, that they're willing to try again and to engage beyond their frustrations from last decade?
Oh, yes, thank you very much for clarification. Yes, it's all very obvious. We can see this operation 1027, show that, how the AA leader have a good relationship with other Dresel country, and also, and ES and the members, and the UG group, they have, hand in hand working through, first these areas. For, yes, um, yes, what I see that, they only want to for the Rakhine State for greater autonomy. For that, definitely they have to work with like the Burmese majority leaders and also other ethnic minority group. For Rakhine populace, the opinions say, yeah, I mentioned that so many times. Rakhine probably already changed through they lead in movement rather than electoral politics. Yeah, definitely after the in post the Hunter administration, they may definitely want the ULA the key player, working with the rest of the country, changing the conflict landscape, and also I see that they they have a really good relationship right now. They are building trust. Uh, after 1 year later, after 1 year after the coup, so we can see very obviously the A leader and the NUG leader is like NLD leaders. They have a good relationship. They had been gained a strong trust again. Yeah, it's maybe really matter for the future what they're gonna do next.
Mm. And one of the theories that I heard some time after the coup, and people trying to analyze what the AA was doing, was this question of, is there ambition to move towards a federal democracy where they are going to trust again? They're going to try to trust again in the process of democratic elections, despite some of the frustrations that happened before. But they're going to try and to engage in building this federal democracy. Or another pathway that was talked about or rumored at the time was that they might just simply not be trusting the whole process of these federal elections and what that can mean for their loss of autonomy, and that instead they might go the way of the WA, where they might want to have some kind of direct negotiation with the military regime, that their region would have some kind of special status like we see with the WA, so that they would have their own administration, military, everything else, to be able to administer and protect their own land, and kind of let go and leave off the rest of the country, kind of split apart. That if the military would want that or allow that is a whole different question, but that could be an ambition of what they're trying to do. I'm wondering if you heard about that as a possibility and what your thoughts are on it.
Oh yes. Firstly, I want to clarify that the history and geographically, what and Rakhine State are totally different. So this is the things that so for military side, military hunter, they won't never like a government in Rakhine State like what USA does. This is a very obvious answer. And the second from the other side or ULA, it won't believe, they will gain, like what does in negotiation or in maybe through negotiation with military hunter, because there was so many obvious answer. First, historically, the also geographically, Rakhine is very much important for the military hunter. So we have Indian skeleton project, India multi-skeleton project. We have China's special economic zone, Chinese special economic zone, and also seaport. So many things actually. Right now, Russia project in Sandway. All these things, and also the also like it's only Rakhine is only to the India Ocean, the pathway to India Ocean for the China. So for maintain for hunter to maintain a good relationship with India, to maintain good relationship with the Chinese government, Rakhine is a key. Rakhine is pivotal, for hunter. So and that's why hunter will never allowed ULA to govern in Rakhine State like UWSA what does. But yeah, I heard that so many people early years or cool, especially early years cool, early times or cool. I read many sort of international analysis. Observers state that ULA believe they will take advantages and they will gain through negotiation with the hunter to gain their greater autonomy in Rakhine State. I read a lot of that. I never believe it won't shift that path. Also, geographically and historically, military won't let go alone, to govern like USA does. It will never happen. And front is like it won't believe, and also Rakhine people also won't believe that either.
That's interesting, and I think that one of the things that played into that fear or that analysis that you're talking about that you saw as well is the nature of this truce that was signed and that was broken on Operation 1027, which we're just about to get to. This is the last point to cover before we talk about what happened and why it's important and where AA is involved. But talk about the nature of the truce that was signed and the thinking behind it and the implications of the truce while it lasted.
It's for yeah. So I also have to remember that front AA side. So if we had a question here. If AA believe they're gonna gain negotiation through the hunter for their greater autonomy Rakhine State, why AA train and also support for so many resistant group in country across the country? We had a question, right? And
Right.
also why the AA fighting in Kachin State, northern Kachin State, alongside their alliance. So if they want work like what does, they stay and quiet and more neutrality, they don't interest about what happened in the in the Central Burma and cool, so they don't interest that. And so once they university maintain their relationship with hunter and also maintain with the ethnic organization, and also especially northern group, and also the position it's really different. University position is a position close to China border, and also geographically like a landlocked area. And also there was very much that hunter interested special economies or something in the world state.
what area. From Rakhine State. That's why ULA believe that, this is, what I see, that ULA believe, to overthrow the hunter, they can do alone in Rakhine State. That's why when they maintain with the ceasefire, they try during this 2 year ceasefire. AA did two significant things in Rakhine State. First, they established administration and judiciary mechanism across the Rakhine State.
Mm.
And the second, AA established military base. Right now, in Rakhine State had 8 bigger military base in Rakhine State across the Rakhine State. A really big, military base, and also it trained thousands of, the Rakhine yuan people, and also many all the students from the Central Bombers also joined in Rakhine State for military training. So in Rakhine State, just two things. All the sides, like Makwe, let's close the border, and Bago is close to the close to the border. I mean, sharing border with Rakhine, and the Sagai, all these area, and also Yaoundé also sharing border with Rakhine. So all these area, so it is trying to establish, the good relationship, rather than good relationship, also establish their own group, and also, maybe settle the equipment for the resistance fighter. All these things are because of distrust over the military, because they don't believe they will gain the greater autonomy negotiation through hunter. They won't. That's because they don't believe that. This is a very obvious answer. That's why they push and UG to have a good relationship, and to have a stronger relationship, and to make a military operation together. So right now we can see in this guy, after 1 or 27, it already leave money and UG affiliate PDF and local resistance group in the sky, and even the colon, colon battle. So many things because of distrust over the military, because of they think that the military is a common enemy. Military have to be overthrown, but they also think in Rakhine State alone, AA fighting to overthrow is impossible, because they already fight for 2 years in Rakhine State. Past 2 years very intensively without stopping any single day. From 2018 to 2020. Yeah.
And this was a battle, it should be mentioned, between the Sitat, the Burmese military, and the AA, in which the NLD was very much on the military side, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is baffling to hold in your mind all these shifting alliances, and where we are now. It's things have changed so rapidly, and that moves us to Operation 1027. I know that there are some listeners who have been following along or familiar with it. There are others. This is who don't know. This is not something that has been making international news in the way that we think maybe it should. This is an unprecedented moment in Myanmar history, not just since the coup, but overall. It's unprecedented in terms of what came before and the potential of where we're going, and something that everyone is scrambling to follow the fast pace and rapid developments of what it means and where we're going from here. But let's just describe what it was for those that are unfamiliar with it and haven't been following, or it hasn't been reported on. Tell us what Operation 1027 was and what it's doing.
Oh yes. Thank you very much. The Operation 127 initially led by Three Brother Alliance, like a compromising of Myanmar National Democratic Alliance, Army, and DAA. So we obviously call Kokan group, and TNLA we call the Palau, the Aung Palau group, and the Arakan Army so Rakhine group. So they have basically three So they have, yeah, this statement have some, the operation goal, but I see that there are only three military goal. First, to crack down, the online cyber operation, and also like fraud operation in Kokan special administration ground that lead by Kokan Bodegret Hunter. And uh, second, what I see that the second, I see that this operation to to sorry, this is second, like to gain, especially for Kokan Group, for to gain their territory back. That was ruled in 2009. They really wanted, like, especially through the Laokan area. So that's why they really want back. So that's why so many so people sort of speaking that the returns of home for the Kokan Group. This operation is the transfer home for the Kokan Group. The thought, so they are very clearly stated. The operation, this operation is for to crack down. I mean, to fight military down. To overthrow the military hunter. This is the final goal. That's why, and after nearly 20 days of the operation, we can see very obviously the operation already moved from northern to all across the country, northern to eastern, I mean eastern, uh, northern northern state to the Mandalay region and Sakai, Makwe, and now Pago, and also in Rakhine State. The operation already being nationwide operation right now. So this is right now, basically, I can say that the operation is initially led by three groups, three brother alliance, MDDA, TNLA, and AA. But the operation show that how united amount resistant group, because they have the through nationwide right now, nationwide operation. They have kind of operation agreement also setting, and they may really take time, might probably take a year, because right now across the country, only the Rangoon region also Rangoon PDF force also released statement last 2 days ago. They will also fight in they will also fight in Rangoon to careful for the people around go to go out late or just something. So these operations show that the quality of force to overthrow the military, and also united amount resistant group in Myanmar.
And of course, this operation being launched came as a surprise to many people. This was carefully coordinated and planned for a long time, but I think that nothing was more a surprise, at least from what I saw, some of the online reactions and talking to some friends offline about what was happening. It was as it was developing, was that the AA was involved, and that, as I understand it, this broke the truce that they had had for some time with the military, and so for many people it was, and I think for those that we talked about just previously who maybe were under the impression that the AA was looking to achieve different aims, and perhaps something on a scale of the of Wa State, and having some special zone that they administered. To many people following, the fact that the AA was so involved in this operation, it came as a surprise. How about for you, for someone that has been closely following Rakhine politics and the armed forces for so long in this region? When you learned that the AA was part of this operation taking place, was there any surprise for you, or did you see this as aligned with what you thought they were doing all along?
Oh yes. Actually, for me, this operation, yeah, definitely, uh, I was trying for their some military strategies, operation, also connecting with across the country. But I am not surprised by how ULA involvement in this process because ULA have been involved and also making key stakeholders saying military coup. Although it's a lot of people observer, especially people from central bombers criticize a lot AA because they don't follow what AA doing at the time. Because this is the thing that AA never spoke out very much about what they are doing in the public. And even the operation, you can see very obviously, AA spokesperson doesn't spoke very much about what they are doing and what they're gonna do, especially for military affairs. So that's why the early years of the coups, a lot of people criticized about no involvement in this process. Now, yeah, definitely they will definitely try a involvement in Shin State, Sagai, Makwe, and so many areas as well. So actually I was very surprised that the thing right now almost 20 days, not even like 18 to 20 days right now. The within 20 days, the three groups, analyze it, more than right now the city, aid and city, historically it's never happened. And also they are technically using technically real advanced, fighting for this, war, this war. It's not the same as previously. And this war is very, very much prepared, really well prepared, and also making very strategically and very step by step. It's maybe really strength for me. And also it seems that they took really time, at least 1 year they may be prepared for this operation.
And another question with that, you've talked a bit about the discussions that have been going on between the AA and the NUG, AA, ULA, I should say. So, to what degree are you aware of where the NUG fit into these discussions and the ongoing operation?
Oh yes, so I didn't get any very specific information about these things, but my observation, I think that the NUG military of especially especially the NUG MOD are really maybe and also really have been involved in this operation early time because this was very obvious. They have preparation, they have preparation, and they also have connection. And but for the NUG modius for this operation, I mean not a key pattern, because after 2 or 3 days, especially after a week later, so this 1 or 27, the NUG open operation, uh, 444, I mean the operation and this I mean a Sakai and Mandalay, they opened up, yeah, Sakai and Mandalay, they initially staff attacked 8 township, more than 10 military bases in in Sakai and Magwe. At the time, what I see that they have kind of connection and strong military cooperation, because many of the Sakai manage as a kind, military operation. I mean, military operation that he also kind of leading member there. Also another group like KNA, KIA, and also KMDF. All these groups are involved in this process and this situation. So yeah, uh, yeah, but I see that very obviously, and UG is now like a key player for this 127 operation. But and UG MOD have kind of involvement and a good relation. Also, initially they may be participating in this operation so far.
Mm, right. And so we're talking as the situation is changing day by day. It's impossible to predict what is going to develop with it. But AA's involvement is really critical, and their engagement with this does change the landscape. How would you describe the importance of AA being involved in this operation? And from the military's point of view, how fragile does it make their continued role in fighting a battle now on so many fronts?
Oh yeah, thank you. So what I see that it is like strategy is like mostly they they things like they want like a key player, a key military players for this revolution movement. This is all very obvious. Obviously, we can see another point. I can see that the one for like the greater autonomy, like kind of in for Rakhine State. So they yeah, I already told they think that they only think fighting in Rakhine State alone doesn't does make sense for them. And also this they joined operation. Another very obvious reason is most of the PDF, the uniform PDF group and like a BPLA, all these group doesn't have military experience. So for this group for leading, they have a bunch of the military operation experience. That's why they came to be the leading role for this operation because they have military operation experiences and also leading and so many things. So yeah, that's why probably they want that's why they are coming to join this operation. Yeah, so for leading role so far.
So, looking at the current situation and conflict logistically, and considering the challenge to the military's authority that the AA's involvement poses, what are you seeing about how this current resistance plays out from the military's perspective? How precarious a position are they in, given not just the Brotherhood Alliance and the ethnic groups that are rising up throughout the country now combined with the PDF, but specifically the fact that AA has also joined? How significant is this?
I think this is like so historically it's really important for the people's Obama's because especially we can see that one the like before even before military coup one fighting in one area and the military trying to trying to ceasefire with another group, try to make ceasefire with another group or something like it. Yeah, we can see very obviously when theirs was fighting in Rakhine State, Dressel country was the Dressel country are stable and there was this fighting and then one Christian state fighting and Quran make a ceasefire and one Quran make ceasefire the Christian state in fighting, historically military, rule divide and like a military make it divide and rule, strategically also fight, fight, store and fight, this is like, this is a cycle the military strategy. But in this time, we can see very obviously that also for Rakhine State, a break ceasefire in the favors of the nationwide resistance movement in Rakhine State right now. See that. Um, so this is like the like collaborated ethnic PDF resistance groups and alliance. This is like this really huge historically movement, movement and also united against the military junta. So in this time, we can also see very obviously the rules of the roles of the AA involvement in this movement. They break in Rakhine, and then they also fight, and also see that in kind of military perspective, the basically the or right now most of the ethnic and organization and also the resistance port. So why one of the thing that I see is they keen to understand that the military is really weak, especially the mentally, almost the and this is the time that to throw over the military hunter in Burma, and this was very obvious, collaborative approach and also making maintaining relationship. All of these are happening in the country right now. So, yeah, that was never been in history, in Burma history. Yeah, actually.
Right. I can imagine. So we're living through a new history as it's happening here, which is also why we wanted to rush to talk to you to learn about what's happening through this conflict through a particularly Rakhine perspective. And staying in Rakhine State, this truce gave some degree of relative stability in Rakhine, not entirely, but more so than other parts of the country, that there was certain kinds of administration and safety that people were able to enjoy with the AA now joining the and leading the Brotherhood Alliance and taking part in this operation. What does this mean for the Rakhine people? Do you think that we're going to see more instability and violence and conflict come to Rakhine communities as well as a result of this?
Where I think that the for Rakhine community, yeah, sure, the Rakhine community are expected to come, sooner or later, so happening in Rakhine State, because most of the people in Rakhine State realize that the negotiation through with the military won't be achieved for a goal toward the people of Rakhine State. This was a very obvious. Yeah, we discussed the whole district actually, uh, and also what I see that for the Rakhine, yeah, that definitely they expected. Also they also prepare for this one, and the thing that on the side of Rakhine people, especially northern Rakhine State, Rakhine people had been suffered a lot by Mokar cyclone devastation. Devastation is a huge impact for the people's, the way being and also their livelihoods and so many things. So they, so and then after the operation start in Shan State, that include Arakan Army. Sure, it's gonna become to the Rakhine State. Um, yeah, so basically, from Rakhine people's side, they want this war to be for the final fighting in Rakhine State. This is very obvious, because if this was his final, and then they're gonna face again and again. They don't want. They're saying they don't want a cycle of violence in Rakhine State. This is very obvious. Yeah.
And before you talked about how Rakhine political parties and even Rakhine political sentiment, as expressed personally that there's quite a bit of ethnic pride that's been seen there, and that ethnic pride has prevented, both at a personal level as well as a party level, being able to engage in greater intercommunal relations and look at being look at the solidarity, brotherhood, sisterhood with other ethnic groups, including Bamar, as opposed to just the interest of the Rakhine people in Rakhine State. And we're seeing one of the things we're seeing with the Spring Revolution is that many different groups, especially younger generations, are coming together and having a certain degree of respect and tolerance and compassion for the struggles and the safety of other marginalized groups. With Rakhine State, given this particular personality that you described to the sediment that's developed there, are you seeing signs of greater interethnic trust and affinity uh, with the Generation Z in Rakhine State, as well as some of the bigger political leaders and parties? Are you seeing a change there?
Oh yes, sure, definitely. So, uh, especially saying like since this conflict started in Rakhine State 2018, even 2000 not 2018 actually, like around uh, 2015 and 2016 around, and that is yeah, very obviously the Rakhine generation, younger generation like a Gen Z, uh, most of the times are really I mean they are really active in the political side, and also they are the adaptables, and also um, so their prospects are not the same as like older generation, like political party leaders or something. So most of the younger generations like are mostly the open-minded people, and also they really willing to take the communications or any society and organization. That's why the the communication between the Rohingya community and Rakhine communities are increased and also improve, or because of this Gen Z generation. This is what I see that actually, because uh, most of the student, you will definitely see that sometimes American student union so very progressive and also very active and politically incorrect, and politically really stand by also really good relationship with this our Burma Student Union, ADFF. Sorry, our Burma Student Unions in Burma, the whole country, and also many parts of the country they have alliance, really good alliance, and also the group also the student group also stand up justice for all the people in Rakhine State, not only Rakhine, but also more Ladina command. So for minority, for including the Rohingya people, they speak out against the speak out against the military hunter and the government, even the Rakhine political party so many times. So this is thing. Those things are really changing the Rakhine, Rakhine society, and and also so we can see that the younger generation, especially like Gen Z's, student union, all things are the factor, like the huge factor that are changing interrelationship between especially Rohingya community and the Rakhine community uh, to be more like a human. I mean, uh, to be more mm, coexistent, or like to be more cohesion, like to be more united among the groups. Yeah, this is so very obvious. Yeah, I can see that.
That's great to hear. And I'd like to return to the beginning part of our conversation. We really spent some time laying out the importance of and the differences between these political parties in Rakhine State. Talked about the ANP, the ALD, the AFP, and some of the others that were there. And what they were doing in the 2010s, what their relation was between the military and the NLD and what their aspirations were. And it was seemingly so important in the 2010s, and yet now suddenly post coup it's ULA that we're talking about mostly. So going back to looking at these political parties, I'm wondering how you see the political landscape. Do you see any relevance left in these parties, or do you think that really the only trajectory that's worth paying attention to at this point is the direction of ULA?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, even before the coup, like around 2018, late 2018, 2019. Since then, the Rakhine people properly attention to the political parties are really low, and also really lowers and lowers, day by day. So and then the yes, very obviously after military coup happened, Rakhine political party, most of the political party, especially AMP and AIP, I stand with the military and just blaming the NLD, the wars or something that at the time. So so we talk about Gen Z, Generation Z. So just the student union also criticized something that yeah. So there's all of these factors make ULA to be a central, key players and leading role for the Rakhine society. Yeah. So right now, I can say that these three political party AMP, AFP, and then ALDs. These three parties are really less influence and also really less influence, really less importance to the for the Rakhine people rather in compared to ULA right now. So almost things are all yeah. I can say that more than 18% of people for the ULA. I mean, not next 30% probably who are living in Rakhine State are from like military family, who are who are governance officer or something like that. So more than 80% of Rakhine populations for ULA, and also they follow what ULA speak out. Yeah. So political party, the roles of political party already lost. Uh, already lures and lows as well. Yeah.
So from here on out, you think it's going to be really ULA leading the way?
Yeah. ULA really leading the way. Yeah.
Mm, right. I'm also curious about the relation with China. What do you know about AA Chinese relations? And there's these big investment projects as well that are going on in Rakhine State, particularly the Jiaopu. And so, in terms of the relation, in terms of stability and the investments, also, how are you seeing what connections or communication has happened between the Chinese and AAULA?
Yeah. So firstly, um, so I haven't seen any formal communication between Chinese government and UAE is. I haven't seen that. Right until today. So yeah, probably they will, yeah, maybe probably they will have through Northern Alliance group. I mean, Three Brother Alliance and USA, that regional, they will definitely have a communication I was talking about. Um, so what I can see that for ULAA for the foreign policy probably so-called what they haven't say that they haven't talk about foreign policy and they haven't show the people of Rakhine State what they have to policy, but based on what they spoke to the media, based on what they released a statement, um, there seems like they want to maintain uh, a good relationship with India, Bangladesh, and China, yeah, especially because these three countries are really involvement for their interest and also their investment and also connecting to one another. Yeah, actually. So from AA side, they want to maintain the good relationship for their definitely for their interests. China's also regional influence country, and other side for the investment in Rakhine State. China also probably approached to the ULA for their uh, project to be protest. Yes, this is what I can say that this is it's really hard to explain how their relationship, but I can say that they very maintain the good relationship. From the side, so they have a statement. They have obviously through the media they spoke that they want to maintain a good relationship with they don't want to make an enemy, but they want a friend or the country.
Right. So, how do you think China's observing what's going on? What do you think their role and their thoughts are about Operation 1027 taking places? And as they're watching this, obviously, there's the how this plays out affects them enormously, politically, in terms of stability, economically. How do you think they're viewing this ongoing resistance now?
Uh, oh yeah, so most of the people, I read that also talking most of people's talking speaking about that Chinese role is important. Yeah, definitely Chinese role important, but China's influence and dominance for the resistance group in Myanmar are also limited. What I see that because especially we can say like three brother alliance, MNDAA and TNLAA. So last year in November, like around this time, China organized the peace tour in Manila. They have 3 day and then almost 1.5 day, and the breaker, the meeting already ended without any, focus, strong or like an agreement. They made it end, and then they didn't get any agreement. And then China seen that uh, even China want to do these things, the military, we can see that even military, if China want to do something, the three group fellow, but what three group demand China can do that. And this is like something like they have limitation to one another. What I see that for this operation are also the same. China want the Laokai and other like a Changchun, especially the second company, especially the like online games can and also there was also last month, before the operation last few months, there was also hundreds of the Chinese citizens were killed by BGF, and also the hunter affiliate BGF group in the in the that area. And also there's also Chinese, a lot of Chinese citizens are also take labor slave in that area. That's why Chinese government Chinese government have the zero tolerance for over this situation. So that's why the Chinese government have been talking to the hunter for so many time. Also almost 1.5 years right now, but the military hunter didn't do anything in the favor of what the Chinese demand. So right now, so what we can see that China want to crack down the online game scam there, and MLDD want back their area, such as coincident. What I see that they want, and the group want, and also for the northern, for the broader resistance movement, AA and MDDA, sorry, TNLA, other group, they also want uh, to overthrow the hunter. So these things are these things are uh, these things are make in a corner point that happen in especially for all common interests. So that's why the Chinese also have, Chinese haven't said anything about northern, especially northern, conflict in northern Shan State. Only they said that, a day after launch operation, Chinese spokesperson said in India to be stable, make a ceasefire. That's all. Not intentionally, they are speaking like a gentleman, they are speaking like a gentleman, like a diplomacy way.
Mhm.
Not intentionally, not something like have to do and start just something, not intention in this move in this this area. Until today, you can see that China actually really silence the operation. So, and that's why the people are speaking that China saying the green light for
Mhm.
this operation.
So, one of the things that you wrote about in your article, your recent article in The Diplomat, you're concerned that the military's response in Rakhine State, that it really, as we've seen all over the country, the Rakhine people will be the ones to suffer, that there will be arrests, the roads will be blocked again. You referenced this before, that a year ago, this was one of the aspects that led to, in your belief, the truce, that because these roads were blocked, goods were prevented from getting in. And that was one of the reasons why, one of the factors in settling on this truce, was to be able to allow the roads and goods continue to be open. That will happen. And then airstrikes as well. We haven't seen so many airstrikes in Rakhine State. These could be things that start to impact the civilian population. And so I imagine for AA ULA leadership to decide to take part in this offensive, this is a high stakes procedure. I mean, they're realizing that they're sacrificing some of this stability that they had enjoyed, even knowing this is limited stability. As you say, there is no future for anyone in the country as long as the military is the one in charge. Any clear-headed person should realize this, but at the same time, you're sacrificing short-term relative stability and safety for this greater aim. But by doing so, you're making a big gamble. It's a high stakes move that is really putting your population in a potentially vulnerable place of that could now be open to military action. How do you see that?
Yes, yeah, it take a huge risk, especially. So yes, this was very obvious that you take a huge risk, openings you found. Uh, I mean, for the prospect is, for another perspective that this is really game chamber or
Mhm.
turning point for nationwide resistance movement or nationwide conflict landscape. Um, yeah, so this is this is all the reason that showing that they one of the, especially during this day, the Three Brother Alliance religious statement, nationwide operation, there will be, counter nationwide operation, all the whole country, coordinated will be countered through, the whole country against the hunter. So this is like, I mean, the first, the leader saying that only the way to only the way to throughout the hunter is the answer for the future of Myanmar. This is a very obvious answer. And the second, we can see that not only the people of Rakhine State, suffering in this war, the rest of the country are, as the same as suffering, bombing. Yeah, yesterday. So we can see the Korani and also like Shan State. So and Christian State, so many bombing across the country. So this is the time what I see that this is they are thinking this is the time that to change the country and to move forward. And also they also setting us was like 2025 or something. Yeah, to overthrow this the military hunter. Yeah, but we have to see that how it's going. So this is gonna be earlier to speak out something for to be sure. Yeah, for future.
Right. That's such a high stakes decision to make here. And you also write from the military side in the Diplomat, you also wrote that you see this as kind of a litmus test for the military, that one way or the other, it could show that it's gone past the breaking point and that this coordinated attack will finally be the nail in the coffin that we'll start to see Naypyidaw collapse. And on the other hand, that there's also a possibility that if they find a way to rally and to confront these attacks that are going throughout the country, that it could not only give the military confidence that they do have the institutional strength to continue to combat this, but it will also alert to the world that, and especially to those countries that have supported it, that they are still the safe bet for being able to control the country. So, what do you see as Naypyidaw's and the military's um, from their point of view in being able to withhold and stand against this or crumbling and notwithstanding? I realize as I say this, this is the $1 billion question. I mean, this is the thing that all the analysts everywhere are talking about, and that you're reading all these online articles and trying to predict when and if Naypyidaw is going to fall, what factors will lead to it crumbling. And very rightly, you refer to it as this litmus test that will show where they're at and what they're able to do. So how do you see this playing out?
Wait, yeah. So I think that so for hunter side, they may also do that. Uh, they will definitely try to consolidate their powers by any means. This is very obviously. So the only they can do that right now, what I see is airstrike. They will definitely rely on airstrike, particularly targeting civilian population across the country. Yeah, we can see very obviously across the country right now targeting airstrike by hunter, and then how the people can be so this is like we are testing they are for resistant side they are testing resilience and adaptability for the yeah for the peoples or the like the for the peoples or the bomber or to overthrow the hunter. So this is if the people can be I mean, if the camera is so much, yeah, definitely. So the uncivilized civilizations are already suffering out and also really worrying. Every day they are, sleeping in the bomb bunker and bomb shelter. So all these things, how much they can do that, and also risings, and also, uh, and also the commodities and other stuff. For the people side, they are suffering now, and they want this is like final, and this is to be shorter and shorter definitely. For resistance side, they have to also look at very strategically way that to know as much less as as much as less casualty for the, and also damage for the civilians, buildings or just something. But definitely for military side, they will definitely target the civilian population, because for resistant group without civilization, civilian support, they can stand. They can be longer, right? There is only the military target. Yeah, this is what I see that for the day by day, we will definitely hear the hunter illustrate very much. Yeah, I feel like really I feel really sad and seeing in the near future. But how long is it gonna take? We cannot say that exact time for resistance for as well. Um, yeah, you see, from the, but from the pro military, they will definitely consolidate. Yeah, yeah, and also they will pay. They will do, as you know, they will do, by any means, yeah.
Mm, yeah, that's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in about the whole country going into conflict, a potential end to this crisis and a post-military future, while also looking at the short-term civilian suffering that we're seeing along the way. I know that all of us are going to be closely following this and feeling that the things are moving very fast now and moving in many different directions. There are many different puzzle pieces, and we don't know which ones are going to fall and when, which direction they're going to go. And as these updates come, how one part is going to affect the rest. Because you essentially have the possibility of the military fighting on every front, which is just an insane prospect to imagine. I mean, this is their worst nightmare since 1948, right?
Oh yeah, so we also have to look at another factor that so so our country is just in a new civil war, right? We have been since 1948, so we have been facing the whole the entire decade. So, but for this history, we can also see that the military hunter soldier surrender and also joined the resistance group and CDF movement, especially during the surrender all across the country. The military soldier have been surrendered to the resistance force. This is a very much significant things, and also this is really effective. So if military, like there's a military soldier, uh, don't surrender like something like right now, we're gonna take time, especially resistance group gonna take so much time to overthrow the military group, military hunter. So that's why I only wish the most surrender, the most surrender day by day, day by day. This is the only way to get out. This crisis, and also this is the only way that. Yeah, this is not only the way, but especially this is the key pattern that can play to overthrow the military hunter to throw. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, as someone as yourself who has studied Rakhine State with your expertise and looking at it for so many years and historically, and now this is a huge development, obviously, not just in the entire country, but specifically in your area of expertise in Rakhine State as well. I think it's an understatement to say that just as this will transform and change Myanmar, so also will it completely change the landscape of Rakhine, both in terms of the political parties and militias that are operating there, but as well as just the landscape of the society day by day. And so as you're looking at this conflict playing out, what are you watching for, particularly in Rakhine State specifically, and with the ULA? What are you watching for, and what have you noticed?
Oh yeah, sure. So there's a very significant for me border conflict, border situation, Bangladesh, through Bangladesh and the Rakhine border, and so it is so very interesting and also very significant for the Rakhine and the rest of the country. Um, Second, I also look at ULA, the administration and the military movement in Rakhine State, and their approach and their strategy, how they are going, what they're gonna do. So also it's also really interesting to seeing that the year by year the ULA approach to the Rakhine and their strategy clearly changing, or their primary goal are also deviating or something. Um, and also, I also look at their movement across the country, northern group, northern state and the Christian state. Yeah, so most of these groups are, yeah. So I interested very much.
Mm. Right. Thanks for that. I really appreciate you taking the time to discuss all of this. You've been very generous. I know that you're extremely busy with everything that you're doing now. And you've been very patient in answering many questions going back decades to better understand Rakhine. I have certainly learned so much. I think our audience has as well. There's much to think about and ponder with this discussion.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really close to speaking here. Yeah, I hope that to understand for the Rakhine State conflict landscape and broadly Myanmar, what happening what happening right now. Yeah, it's ongoing so one or traditional operation. Yeah.
Many listeners know that in addition to running these podcast episodes, we also run a nonprofit, Better Burma, which carries out humanitarian projects across Myanmar. While we regularly post about current needs and proposals from groups on the ground, we also handle emergency requests, often in matters that are quite literally life or death. When those urgent requests come in, we have no time to conduct targeted fundraisers, as these funds are often needed within hours. So please consider helping us to maintain this emergency fund. We want to stress that literally any amount you can give allows us to respond more flexibly and effectively when disaster strikes. If you would like to join in our mission to support those in Myanmar who are being impacted by the military coup, we welcome your contribution in any form, currency, or transfer method. Your donation will go on to support a wide range of humanitarian and media missions, aiding those local communities who need it most. Donations are directed to such causes as the Civil Disobedience Movement, CDM, families of deceased victims, internally displaced person IDP camps, food for impoverished communities, military defection campaigns, undercover journalists, refugee camps, monasteries and nunneries, education initiatives, the purchasing of protective equipment and medical supplies, COVID relief, and more. We also make sure that our donation fund supports a diverse range of religious and ethnic groups across the country. We invite you to visit our website to learn more about past projects, as well as upcoming needs. You can give a general donation or earmark your contribution to a specific activity or project you would like to support, perhaps even something you heard about in this very episode. All of this humanitarian work is carried out by our nonprofit mission, Better Burma. Any donation you give on our Insight Myanmar website is directed towards this fund. Alternatively, you can also visit the Better Burma website, betterburma.org, and donate directly there. In either case, your donation goes to the same cause, and both websites accept credit card. You can also give via PayPal by going to paypal.me/betterburma. Additionally, we can take donations through Patreon, Venmo, GoFundMe, and Cash App. Simply search Better Burma on each platform and you'll find our account. You can also visit either website for specific links to these respective accounts or email us at info@betterburma.org. That's Better Burma, one word, spelled BETTERBURMA.org. If you would like to give it another way, please contact us. We also invite you to check out our range of handicrafts that are sourced from vulnerable artisan communities across Myanmar, available at alokacrafts.com. Any purchase will not only support these artisan communities, but also our nonprofit's wider mission. That's Aloka Crafts, spelled ALOKACRAFTS, one word, alokacrafts.com. Thank you so much for your kind consideration and support.
Oba yarananda dayananga yaranaya dayanam boda yaranam